Good evening, friends, and welcome to day 98 of A Poem a Day for 2026. It is Wednesday. I finished work a fair amount of time ago. It's just closing in on 7 o'clock, I think, at the moment. However, I've spent some time with the cats, and I've spent a chunk of time outside. It has been pretty clear blue skies and bright sunshine all day. I needed to go outside to collect the bin. It was bin day today, and with my front door not being street facing, I can't just put mine outside. I have to put it a distance away. So I do genuinely have to go and collect the bin. And I finished work and everything, and Cass was on the sofa, loafing, and on and off all afternoon, both, well, at one point out the front, outside my living room window, and then outside my bedroom window, and it seemed to be kind of surround sound at some point. I could hear a cat meowing. Both the kids are accounted for in the house, so it wasn't somebody had escaped. But every time I looked outside, through the windows, couldn't see anything. So I decided that when I went to get the bin, I would go and investigate. Got the bin, took a wander down the houses behind me. Nothing, found some very friendly pigeons. Apparently one of the neighbours behind me has a really cute little bird bath, and a little table for them with snackies, which they seemed pretty happy about. And considering how close I got to them before they didn't take flight, but just kind of sort of flapped away a little bit, they must be pretty chill, because they as I say, they didn't fly off, they just moved about 5 feet away. So I got to hang out with some pigeons briefly. Bloody love pigeons. But yeah, no sign of this cat. I then stood outside my front door for a while because I was in the sun and it was wonderful, quite frankly. Didn't want to come back inside. And then I could hear and realised that at least one of the cats was on the other side of the front door. I opened the door and there were faces. So I stood at the front door with the cats sitting on the front step, enjoying the sun for a little while. I don't know if the mic's going to pick it up, but the cat seems to be back. They are lamenting. When I was getting ready to sit down to do this, the meowing started up again. I looked out the living room window and there was a small little black cat with white socks. And I was like, buddy, this isn't your home. And I was going to open the window because it's very warm in here. It had been warm. And as I opened the window, they ran off. And they've obviously come back. If I had the money, I would feed them, but I don't. And I know if I give them something, they'll just keep coming back. And it may well be that I mean, they look fairly well. They don't look thin. They look petite. I think they're probably just young. They don't look sort of beat up or anything. They don't look stray. They don't have a collar, but my guys don't have collars. They're chipped, but also they're house cats. But I know not everybody puts collars on their cats because of the risk of getting caught in trees and things like that. So, but yeah, so I also don't want to potentially feed somebody else's cat. But yeah, so a little bit sad about that. But that's my adventure with neighbourhood cat this afternoon. But obviously that's not what you've come here for today. You have come here for poetry. That's why you always come here. I hope that perhaps you don't mind me regaling you with stories of my day. Let's see what we have. Just a page. Double check that. Yeah. So today's piece is entitled Home Thoughts from Abroad by Robert Browning. And our blurb reads as follows. Browning wrote this poem during his 1845 travels around Italy. This is a poem of nostalgia in its truest sense. It comes from the Greek word nostos, which means homecoming. Browning might be on holiday, but all he can think of is the beauty of England in springtime, where birds are chirping, flowers are blossoming, and nature is coming back to life. So, this is Home Thoughts from Abroad by Robert Browning. Oh, to be in England. Now that's April there. And whoever wakes in England sees some morning unaware that the lowest boughs and the brushwood sheaf round the elm tree bole are in tiny leaf, while the chaffinch sings on the orchard bough in England now. And after April, when May follows, and the whitethroat builds, and all the swallows, hark where my blossomed pear tree in the hedge leans to the field and scatters on the clover blossoms and dewdrops at the bent spray's edge. That's the wise thrush, he sings each song twice over, lest you should think he never could recapture the first fine, careless rapture. And though the fields look rough with hoary dew, all will be gay when noontide wakes anew. The buttercups, the little children's dower, fare brighter than this gaudy melon flower. To be somewhere as beautiful and rich and cultured as Italy in the 1800s, and to be longing for England, that's somebody truly in love with this home. How delightful to be, and not just sort of like, oh, to be generally lamenting of England, but Browning there is talking about specific things from sort of where he lives. The pear tree in his garden and the fields around where he is. Just, it's like I don't live anywhere particularly picturesque, but I'm sort of right opposite me as I look out of my living room window. There's a very large building. I believe it comprises of flats, but it looks like a massive house. So what I can see in front of me is a big red brick wall that makes up the side of the building. And because there's quite a lot of trees around me, and along the road, which on that side of the road there are flats, there's trees in front of the flats, and there's trees behind me and to this side of me. So where the sun is falling through the trees that are covered with blossoms and stuff at the moment, there's a wonderful kind of dapple shadow on that brickwork, and it's just gorgeous. It's not much, but it's mine. It's my view. Yeah. Yeah, makes me think of Tim Minchin. I can't for the life of me remember the name of the poem. Song, sorry. I can hear it in my head clear as day, but I don't want to subject you to my singing. I can also only pluck out a verse in kind of the middle of the song. I'll see if I can find it. I don't want to hit Google up. No. Essentially, he's going through, as he progresses through the song, he kind of starts off on a very large scale. This is his earth. It's not much, but it's where he lives, and he kind of comes down finally to say that this is his mind, and he lives in it. It's kind of it's a bit higgledy-piggledy, and it's got some problems, but it's his. And the verse where he talks about his home is particularly beautiful, and the way he talks about his body as well is very touching. But yeah, if you're not familiar with Tim Minchin, and you don't mind something politely cheeky, very clever, he's an Australian comic / musician, writes very clever music, brilliant. If you're, I would recommend to start on something a bit more heartfelt. White Wine in the Sun. I can't explain why, but it always makes me think of my nana. I didn't hear it until after she'd passed, so there's no connection there, but it always makes me think of her. Yeah, so very pleasant piece today, sandwiched by ramblings. So yeah, I hope you're okay with that today, folks. And as always, I hope you've had a good day. Yeah. And thank you for being here, for being you. Because, quite frankly, no one else can be you. You are the very best you that there is. I mean, others may try, but they will never succeed. You are unrivaled in your you-ness. Good work. Until tomorrow, I wish you a very good night.